Welcome back to the deep dive where we take a stack of your sources and we kind of pull out the most interesting bits.
It's like a mental compost, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. It's like mindful moments, only, on the go and with the AI narration.
And hopefully a bit more fun.
Always more fun. Okay, so today we are diving into Go Tell the Bees That I Am Gone, the 9th book in Diana Gabaldon's Outlander series. This one comes to us from a listener request, so we know there are some fans out there. But get ready to maybe see this book in a whole new light.
Yeah, this book is particularly fascinating, I think, because it really takes place against the backdrop of the American Revolution.
Oh, interesting.
Which is a time of, just massive upheaval and change. So we're going to see how all these historical events sort of intertwine with the personal lives of our characters.
Okay, so we rejoin Jamie and Claire Wright. They're returning to Fraser's Ridge, expecting, peace and tranquility.
Right.
And instead what they find is a community that's grappling with all these internal tensions and the looming threat of war.
Yeah. And even their home, right? It's still under construction.
Oh, it's symbolic.
It is very symbolic, right? This incompleteness.
Yeah.
So they've returned to this place that's, familiar, but it's also foreign.
Right.
And they have to kind of navigate all the challenges of coming back into this life they had and, while dealing with all this stuff from their past.
Oh, that's interesting. And then, of course, speaking of arrivals, Brianna, Roger, and their children, right? They travel through time to join them.
Right.
Bringing, I imagine, a mix of joy and apprehension.
Yeah. I mean, the reunion is very heartwarming, but it also highlights the challenges, right?
Of course.
Of adapting to, 18th century life, but when you have a family from the future.
Right.
And Gabaldon, she's really clever. She uses Jemmy, the youngest time traveler, to kind of show these challenges.
Okay.
Because he has all these innocent questions and observations that force the adults to really confront the complexity of everything.
Yeah, and I mean, it is complex, like they are literally altering history just by being there.
Exactly.
Okay, so then there's also Roger's ancestor.
Right.
Buck McKenzie, who reappears. This isn't just a family reunion, it's a confrontation with the past.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Especially because, Buck was responsible for Roger almost dying in a previous book.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's got to be tense.
It is. But it's a fascinating look at, forgiveness and reconciliation. Can you really forgive someone who caused you that much pain?
Right. Especially when they are, like, literally your family.
Exactly.
Okay, so one of the things I thought was really interesting about this book, and this is something we see, in this series a lot, but it's Jamie's relationship with his illegitimate son, William.
Right.
It's so fraught with secrecy and societal constraints and just this longing for connection.
And it just brings up all these questions about what it means to be a father and the societal norms that kind of dictate, what choices we make. Can a father truly love a son he can't even acknowledge?
Right. And can the son, ever find peace without knowing his true parentage?
Exactly.
There are also these quieter moments,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like when Claire tells Jamie that she intentionally, spaced out reading his letters while he was presumed dead.
Right.
It seems like a small detail, but it's so powerful.
It is. It speaks volumes about their connection and her strength. She needed that connection with him.
Even when he wasn't there.
Yes, even when he wasn't there.
But then, okay, so lurking beneath all these personal stories.
Yeah,
right,
yes.
there are these hints of darker forces at play.
For sure.
Like the arrival of Mr. Cleveland.
Right. Very enigmatic.
He foreshadows the growing unrest.
Yes. And it's a reminder that even in a seemingly idyllic place, there can be danger.
Right.
That peace on Fraser's Ridge it's fragile.
Definitely. And then, okay, this is when things get really intense. So there's a scene where Claire is terrorized by the ghost of Blackjack Randall, her, deceased tormentor.
Yeah.
And it's so chilling. It brings back all these memories for her.
Right. And it makes you wonder, is she losing it? Or is something else happening?
Right. Is it psychological or is it supernatural?
Exactly. And it forces Claire and us as readers to think about the effects of trauma.
Right. Like how the past can stay with you.
Yes, absolutely. It's not all just about the Frasers, right? This book, it's about a whole community that's kind of teetering on the edge of revolution.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
And we see all these, normal people having to make these huge choices. Are they loyal to the crown or are they going to fight for independence?
Right. And I think that's what's so cool about how Gabaldon writes.
Yeah.
She takes these big historical events and makes them really personal. you know?
Absolutely. It's not just abstract. It's like life or death for these characters that we've come to know and love.
Exactly. And those personal stories, they often like mirror the bigger conflict. It's like Jamie's internal struggle, you know, between his Scottish heritage and then his ties to America.
Right.
It's like the whole colonies, just on a smaller scale.
Yeah, exactly. And then you've got Brianna and Roger, right? Still trying to find their place, but they're constantly reminded that they're outsiders.
Which is sad. It's kind of melancholy, right?
It is. But it lets Gabaldon kind of explore these ideas of, what does it even mean to be home?
Especially when you're literally caught between two worlds.
Exactly.
And speaking of the past, I mean, Roger really has to face his family history head on.
Oh, yeah. With Buck McKenzie.
But can't you imagine knowing this guy almost killed you?
I mean, it's wild.
Yeah.
But it also makes you think, like, how are we supposed to relate to our ancestors?
Right. Like, are we responsible for their actions?
Yeah. Can we even judge them? I mean, it was a different time,
Okay, true.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there's the fire.
Oh, the fire.
That rips through the meeting house.
Devastating.
So devastating. But it's also like, it reveals these cracks in the community.
Absolutely. It just brings all the suspicion and prejudice to the surface.
Right. Like, even in this tight-knit community, it shows how easily things can fall apart.
For sure. And amidst all of that, Claire's fighting her own demons.
Right. She's got these visions.
Yeah, at first she thinks it's just stress.
Understandable.
But they get worse.
Right. And it's like, okay, what is real?
Exactly. Is she breaking down? Or is there something more going on? It's so good.
Gabaldon she knows how to blend the historical and the, like, mystical.
Great. She's a master.
She really is. And, she doesn't shy away from the tough stuff either.
Yeah.
The trauma, the grief.
Right.
Claire's past, I mean, especially with Blackjack Randall, it's like it never really leaves her.
And that's a theme throughout the series.
Right.
Trauma stays with you. It shapes who you are,
It really does. Okay, so the title, Go Tell the Bees That I Am Gone.
Yes.
It's so evocative. It's more than just a title.
It is.
Right. It's like this old Scottish tradition of sharing news, like with bees.
Like their family.
It's so beautiful. It's like saying we're all connected. Like humans and nature.
It is. And our actions, they have ripple effects. They don't just affect us.
Right. Okay, and the Revolutionary War, it's not just a threat anymore.
No, it's real. It's happening.
Everyone at Fraser's Ridge is being forced to, like, pick a side.
It's intense. They're being forced to really look at their values.
What are they willing to fight for?
Exactly. What are they willing to sacrifice?
And Gabaldon, the way she writes about the war, it's like epic and personal all at once.
Yes. It's like we see the big battles, and then we also see how it affects just, regular people's lives.
It's amazing. And it's even more amazing? She makes it accurate. Like, historically accurate.
Oh, she does her research.
She does. But she never loses sight of the characters.
Right. The human element is always there.
Always. And even with all the chaos, there's still beauty. Like Claire and Jamie, their love is a constant.
Right. It's like a rock. It's how they get through.
It really is.
Yeah.
And Brianna and Roger, they're going through it too, but they're figuring out parenthood. They're finding their way.
They're creating a new life for themselves. It's amazing to see.
And now we're getting to the climax. It's like the tension is just building and building.
The stakes are so high.
And Gabaldon, she throws in these twists, like just when you think you know what's going to happen.
She flips the script.
I know. That's why I love her books.
She keeps you guessing.
So we're reaching the end of Go Tell the Bees That I Am Gone. And it feels like the weight of history, of legacy, it's just so present.
Yeah, you really see it with Jamie, his past, especially with William, his son.
Right. They're meeting. It's almost like this collision of anticipation and fear.
It is because they have to deal with this bond that has all this, secrecy around it and all these societal expectations.
Right. And William, he's a young man now. He's in the British Army. And suddenly he has to face this truth about who his father is.
It's huge. It changes everything for him, his whole world.
And Jamie, he's corn.
Right.
He wants to acknowledge William to be his father.
But he knows the risks, the scandal.
Right. And the danger to William and what it would do to his family.
It's a lot to carry.
Gabaldon she nails the emotion of it all. It's like family can be this source of incredible love.
But also, incredible pain.
Exactly. And those choices we make, they have consequences for us and for the generations that come after us.
Absolutely. And speaking of choices, you see that with with Roger, too. His journey, his self-discovery, it takes a turn.
Oh, yeah, with Buck McKenzie,
Yeah.
his ancestor.
At first, there's all this resentment.
Right.
But then Roger, he starts to understand, what Buck went through.
Right, well, he walks in his shoes a bit.
Literally. And it gives Roger empathy for this man who, almost killed him.
It's powerful. It's like saying we can't just judge the past based on what we know now.
We have to try to understand.
And the war, it's really heating up. Everyone at Fraser's Ridge has to make a decision. Where do they stand?
It's a turning point. Jamie especially. He's got his loyalty to Scotland.
But then he's got Claire, his family.
It's heartbreaking. He has to, reconcile his past with his present.
And then there's the women. They're incredible.
Claire and Brianna.
Claire with her healing.
She's a lifeline for everyone.
And Brianna, she's using her knowledge of the future to help.
They're both so strong.
Okay, so the climax, everything's coming together. All these storylines, they're weaving into this final confrontation.
The tension is, oh my gosh, it's off the charts.
You're just holding your breath. Who's going to survive? What's going to happen?
It's a masterclass in suspense.
It really is. Go tell the bees that I am gone. It's about love, loss, resilience. It's about hope in the face of just crushing adversity.
And Gabaldon's writing, it pulls you in. It's another time, another place.
It's a world you don't want to leave.
You really don't. And it makes you think about history, about the choices we make.
And the impact they have. So if you're looking for a book that will just sweep you away, transport you,
this is it.
Go tell the bees that I am gone. It's a must-read. You can find a link to purchase the book in the show notes. And be sure to subscribe to the channel for more deep dives. Share this episode with anyone who loves Outlander or just loves a good story. Until next time, keep exploring and keep diving deep.